सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुराः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So children, we started with last Friday, I think, we started introducing this 13th chapter. And what did I say was the name of the 13th chapter? 13th chapter is called as Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga. Now what is the meaning of this? Bhagwan Krishna himself explained to Arjuna in the first two verses. He said that the entire world is called as a Kshetra. Okay? Entire world means what? Whatever you see in the world outside, the whole Jagat, your body, mind also, your body also is called as Kshetra. Kshetra means what? Kshetra means a field. Why field? What happens in the field? Like agricultural activity happens. Okay? Activities regarding animals like cows and other things happen. So in a field, what happens? All kinds of activities happen. Similarly, in the Kshetra called as the world and in the Kshetra called as this body, all the activities are happening. Where are all the activities in us happening, in all of us individual? All the activity is mostly seen in the body, correct? There is activity in the prana also, there is activity in the mind also, there is activity in the buddhi also. But what is the activity which is most commonly and obviously seen? That is the activity of the body. Therefore, Bhagwan says that, the entire body, the sthula shariram, sukshma shariram, karana shariram of every individual jiva can be called as a Kshetra, because all these are fields of activity. At the same time, the whole world can be also called as a Kshetra, because the entire world is a field of all kinds of activities. Then he said, who is the Kshetrajna? Who is the knower of this? The Kshetrajna, he says, is the one who knows, the one who sees the body, that is the Kshetra. The one who sees the Jagat experiences the Jagat. So the experiencer of the Jagat, the experience of this body and mind, that knower, the one who knows this body mind, the one who knows the Jagat or the world is called as a Kshetrajna. So Kshetra is the same as the Apara Prakriti that was described in the 7th chapter. And Kshetrajna is Atma or Para Prakriti described by Lord Krishna in the 7th chapter. Okay. And who is this Kshetrajna? Bhagwan said that Atma which I told you in the 2nd chapter, okay, Kshetrajna means Atma. So Arjuna's doubt and our doubt can be what? I have an Atma in this body, Dehi or Atma, correct? You have one Atma, is it? You have one Atma. So does every individual have a different Atma? So what did Krishna say? No. There is one Atma, that is me, that is the Paraprakriti me, which is there in all the body, mind, sense complexes. In all the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Shariras, there is one Atma, and that Atma is me, I. Who is this I? Paraprakriti, Atma, Kshetrajna, I am, Krishna said. What about the world then? What is that in the world? We see the whole picture of the world with all kinds of names and forms, all kinds of jivas. What did Krishna say in the 7th chapter and 9th chapter? It is my Paraprakriti or me as Atma pervade. I am available in the whole universe, in the whole world. How did he describe that? As though I am the thread passing through different beads of the necklace. Therefore, I, the Paraprakriti, I, the Atma, is also called as Kshetrajna, and I am present in all the jivas, in all the bodies, and I am the common, I am the same Atma, which is the Paraprakriti in the whole world outside. So he said that. And then what did Krishna say? To understand this knowledge, you have already gone through what? Karma Yoga. And you have got what? By Karma Yoga, you get what? Chitta Shuddhi. You know that, correct? You have already done Upasana from the 7th chapter to the 12th chapter. And what did you get by following Upasana? You get the capacity to focus and understand what Lord Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavan says, to understand that I, the Paraprakriti, is the Kshetrajna or the Atma in every body and in everything in the world outside. You have to have a mature mind. And to develop the maturity of mind, Lord Krishna said, you have to have, or you have to imbibe, or you have to inculcate, or you have to practice certain values. Values means what? Some good things in life. A good attitude of the mind. A good attitude for the body. That has to be absorbed by everybody. And he called these values as what? He called these values as jñānam. What is jñānam here? Knowledge is also called jñānam. But in 13th chapter, Krishna says that these values or the good gunas or the good attitudes that you imbibe, sadgunas, olle guna, the sadgunas which you imbibe, they are called as jnanam, because you make your mind, you make your intellect very, very mature by following these values. So what are the values we talked about last time? Amanitvam, remember? Not having that arrogance that I know everything, I am the best. That kind of a arrogance is not there. That is called as amanitvam. We have to develop that attitude. I may have all kinds of talents, but still I have to learn to understand that all my talents are given by Bhagwan, by God. And therefore I cannot have any arrogance about good things or good qualities or talents that I have. Then next he said adambitvam. What is the meaning of adambitvam? Not showing off. Many of us feel, no, if we have something, we have to show off. Correct? Like all advertisements you see, correct, on the TV. You have something, you have to show off and make other people jealous of you. That is not the thing. One should not show off. That not showing off is called as adambitvam. We have also to practice that, because it is natural for us that when we have something, it is natural for us to show off to others. But then Krishna says you must develop the capacity not to show off. That is a good value. So amanitvam, that is not having extreme pride and arrogance about myself. Adambitvam means what? Not actually showing off whatever I have. Okay. Ahimsa. That means the capacity not to hurt others. One should not hurt others. Himsa is bad. What is the meaning of himsa? You are hurting others intentionally. Sometimes unintentionally we can hurt, isn't it? See, you are walking and you don't see on the road you are walking, and one small ant or some small cockroach or something comes under your feet and it dies. It is not intentional, correct? We don't want to hurt anybody, but sometimes unintentionally things will happen. Okay, so amanitvam means you should be humble. Adambitvam means what? One should not show off. Ahimsa means what? As much as possible, we should be compassionate to others and we should not hurt others. Kshantihi. What is the meaning of Kshantihi? The capacity to bear certain things. Bearing means what? Sometimes things may not happen the way we want. There may be certain instances which disturb us. They will make us feel very sad. In such moments, we have to keep that forbearance. What was called as titiksha. We have to have the capacity to bear certain problematic instances, problematic periods or time in our life. Shanti. Then arjavam was another good thing, a good value one should have. What is arjavam? Whatever you think, whatever you say, and however you act, it should be in one line. Correct? That is called as arjavam. Okay? I think of something, I speak something else, I do something else, then who am I? I am considered to be a mad person. Correct? Correct? See, when you are driving a cycle. Okay? Your chain that you are having the two wheels, the chain is connecting the two wheels, correct? And the handle is going in front, correct? Supposing one wheel is turned this side, the back wheel is in an angle some place, and the whatever call that chain is not there. The handle is looking somewhere. Can you ride the cycle, child? You can't know. The handle is somewhere. The two wheels are looking here and there, and the chain is connecting something else. That is the state of a person who thinks something, talks something else, acts something else. So, acting, speaking, and talk and thinking in one straight line. That is called as arjavam. Then what is that? The next one, kshantihi, arjavam, acharyopasanam shaucham. Okay, what is acharyopasanam? Acharya upasanam means respectfulness to the teacher. Then shaucham, cleanliness with regards to our surroundings, and cleanliness regard to myself. Shaucham, I have to have a bath every day. I have to brush my teeth and then only drink coffee or eat something. Okay, I will sit in the bed and then I will eat and drink breakfast. After that I will get up, then I will brush my teeth. No, that is not shaucham according to our scriptures. Okay, we have to follow certain rules of cleanliness. Shaucham. Then sthiryam, he said. What is sthiryam? That is the confidence that whatever I am doing, I am going to do it properly. This Bhagavad Gita study, I am going to be committed to that. This sthiryam or thairyam. And atma-vinigraha, the capacity to control the body and the sense organs, so that for half an hour I am able to sit without moving my body, without looking here and there, without getting up 10 times and going out and coming back. Okay, this is what is called as atma-vinigraha. We called it what earlier chapters? Shama and Dama. Do you remember? Shama Dama we called it. You remember that? Those words you remember? That means disciplining the body and sense organs, disciplining the mind. So atma-vinigraha means disciplining the mind and the body. Then in the next, what did he say? Indriyartheshu vairagyam. We have discussed this on last Friday. That's why I am summarizing it. That is in the 8th verse, he says, Indriyartheshu vairagyam. That means what? Not all the time running after objects of the world. I want this, I want this, I want this. The minute I see an advertisement for a new cell phone, oh, I want it, I want it. The minute I see an advertisement or somebody tells me about something else, I want it, I want it. Now, this kind of a longing or going after everything I want, I want, I want all the time, this should not be there. If something comes to me by itself, okay. I will make a little effort, yes, if I want something, but I will not run after things. So they are called as indriyartheshu vairagyam. Anahankaraha, always that ahankara. I did this, I did this. See, because of me, this happened. I am the best in the class. Then manitvam also and ahankara, there very small difference there. So here ahankara means very, very proud, that pride which about myself, and all the time saying, I have done this, I have done this, see, this is my work, because of me so many things are happening, I am great. So that ahankara and manitvam which we saw earlier is one and the same. So ahankara one should not have. That means what? One should not be all the time talking and boasting about oneself. Anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanudarshanam. You don't worry about this. We have to see that everything in the world outside, including our body, is temporary. This is the meaning of this. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshanudarshanam. Don't worry, just understand. This means that one should understand the temporary nature of everything except the Atma. Only Atma is permanent. Everything else is temporary. Therefore, running after something temporary is not really worth it. That is what here Lord Krishna is saying. Then, there we stopped. On last Friday, there we stopped. Now we will go to the 9th shloka of the 13th chapter, where some more values are talked about. What does he say? Asaktir anabhiṣhvaṅgaḥ putra-dāra-gṛihādiṣhu nityaṁ sama-chittatvam iṣhṭāniṣhṭopapattiṣhu. Asaktir anabhiṣhvaṅgaḥ putra-dāra-gṛihādiṣhu. Now you have to understand this as what? One should love the family members, but one should not be extremely attached to the things around you and even to your own family members. You should be grateful to Lord that God has given me such a good family. I am grateful to God that my parents are such wonderful people. I am grateful to God that God has given me birth in such a wonderful family. Yes, all that is there. But at the same time, it should not be that, I should not have too much of attachment, in the sense, I can't go to school without my brother. I cannot go to hostel without my parent. I have to see my mother every day. Now that kind of a deep attachment, entanglement, one should not have. That is what Lord Krishna is saying. Bhai, loving your family is not, it is, you should have respect for your family. You should have love for your family. But too much of attachment that you forget yourself, you forget your studies, you forget your everything, but all the time you are thinking of your family members. That should not happen. So the family members and your objects, that is what grihādishu, he says. This is my house, this is my house, this is my thing, this is my room, this is my chair, this is my table. Too much of attachment to things as my things, that also should not be there. Why? Why does Bhagavan talk about this? Lord Krishna says, since everything is temporary, correct? People are temporary, objects are temporary. Anytime Bhagwan or Lord can take back whatever he has given us. Correct? So we should love everything around us, but we should not be totally attached to anything. We should be willing to let go. Supposing Bhagwan today comes and says, look, I want to take back something I have given you. He has every right, correct? Because Bhagwan has given us everything that we have. Bhagwan can take back if he doesn't want us to have it. We should be willing to lose something. The capacity to give up, lose, give it back to Bhagwan. That is the meaning of anabhiṣhvaṅgaḥ and asaktir. Asaktir means no undue attachment. Anabhiṣhvaṅgaḥ means what? The person is not totally caught by my things, my family, my... Have respect, do things for them, respect them, love them, be grateful to them, but let there not be too much of an attachment. Right now you may find it difficult at this age. It's all right. Just remember what is the meaning of this. That's all. You don't have to learn to practice it right now. At your age, it is very difficult to give up attachment to your parents, to your brother, sister. So don't worry about that now. So don't have to go to, because here Krishna is talking to whom? He's talking to Arjuna, who is 75-year-old, correct? Here Krishna is not talking to all 7th standard, 8th standard children. My difficulty is what? I have to talk to 7th standard to 10th standard children. So it is difficult for me to explain all these things. But for Lord Krishna, it is not difficult, because who is his student? One student. Only one student, Arjuna, 75-year-old. So he can easily tell him, don't be attached to your family, don't be attached to your house. But you people are still young. Therefore, what is the meaning of this that you have to understand? Understand that whatever you have is a gift from God, and God can take away any gift that He has given us. We should be willing to return whatever we call mine with thanks to Lord. Okay, this much you remember. Then, sama-chittatvam iṣhṭāniṣhṭopapattiṣhu. What is the meaning of that? What here God says is that every day good things only will not happen to us, correct? Sometimes not so good things also will happen in our lives, correct? Every day is not going to be a happy day, correct? Some days are happy days, some days are sad days, some days are tiring days, some days are difficult days. But even in such a situation, one should have the capacity to receive whatever comes as God's prasadam. Okay, that is a sama-chittatvam means what? I am the same. Whatever comes to me, what I want comes to me, I am not jumping with joy. What I don't want, what I am scared of comes to me, but I don't go down and cry and make a big fuss. So what is the meaning of this? That means whatever comes to me, whatever I like comes, sometimes what I dislike comes. What I like goes away from me, what I don't want comes towards me. In such situations, what should I have? The capacity to accept everything with the equanimous mind, the sameness. And how do I accept it with sameness? Ishvara prasada buddhi. I accept it with that. Then with this, the most important values Krishna has finished. There are some more of them, but these values I will just very briefly say. He says in the 10th verse, he says, mayi chānanya-yogena bhaktir avyabhichāriṇī vivikta-deśha-sevitvam aratir jana-sansadi. So he says, look Arjuna, and now I'll say, look children, you may like to be among your friends, among people whom you love, but sometimes it may not be possible. There are many times that you may have to manage by yourself alone. So you should be prepared. You should be prepared to be alone for some time. You should be prepared to sit by yourself and meditate for some time. Don't always depend upon other people's company to give you happiness. Okay? Normally now what? We want our friends always to be with us. We want our family members. We feel that only in the presence of other people we'll feel happy. But then we have to train ourselves that we have to understand that sometime in a day we should learn to spend time alone by ourselves in the presence of nature or in meditation, so that we develop this habit of being happy by ourselves. Then he says, only then it is possible for us to become bhaktas. So what is he saying here, Lord Krishna? Mayi ananya-yogena bhaktihi. May you be a bhakta. What kind of a bhakta? Doesn't matter if you are an artha bhakta or adhyātma bhakta, but please try to become a jignasu bhakta. Think of me all the time. Jignasu means what? Try to know me. Try to spend some time with yourself alone. Try to meditate upon me. Try to see the wonderful world around you. Try to understand all this glory of this world is Ishvara. Spend some time with yourself, silent, quietly, closing your eyes, or sitting outside in the garden, or sitting under a tree in your school, occasionally being by yourself, just observing things, listening to the birds. What does it give you? It gives you the capacity to meditate upon Lord, and may you be my bhakta. Developing bhakti in Lord, in God, that is also another value one has to imbibe. Lastly, he says in the 11th shloka, he says, adhyātma-jñāna-nityatvaṁ tattva-jñānārtha-darśhanam etaj jñānamiti proktam ajñānam yadato nyathā. So Arjuna, develop some interest in understanding what I am teaching, Krishna is telling, and it is applicable to us also. All these values that you are developing, the most important, ultimately, why you are trying to develop, and why you are trying to implement these things in your life, so that one day you understand what I am teaching. Bhagwan says, what am I teaching you? Adhyātma-jñānam I am teaching you. Adhyātma-jñānam is the only jñānam. Atma-jñānam is the only knowledge which will ultimately free you from your confusion, fear and sorrow. We have seen that, isn't it? So, develop a value for adhyātma-jñānam. Develop a value for atma-jñānam. Try to know what Lord Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Slowly try to understand what our scriptures are talking. So develop an interest in Atma-jñānam. So these are all the values that one has to develop. And by developing these values, what happens? What does Krishna say that by developing these values, what is that which is going to happen? How it is going to help? By knowing or developing all these values, Bhagwan says, you are preparing yourself, you are preparing your intellect, you are preparing your mind with maturity, ultimate to understand what? To understand that I, the Para-Prakriti, is the Atma and the Kshetrajna in all the living beings. Okay, so what is the need for developing these values? Ultimately, to make your mind mature. Okay, by Karma Yoga, what have you done? You have removed the impurities in your mind, correct? And by Upasana Yoga, what you have done? By Upasana, by Bhakti, what you have done? You have made your mind one-pointed, or you have made your mind capable of understanding this knowledge. What do these values do? They try to make your mind more mature to receive this knowledge. Now I will give you an example for this. Okay. By Karma Yoga, what do we do? Karma Yoga is what is the phalam? Chitta Shuddhi. We already know. What is Chitta Shuddhi? Their impurities of the mind are removed. Now, you think of planting a seed. Okay, now let us, take the example of planting a plant. What do? You have to plant a seed in the earth, correct? What do you do there? First, you dig the earth, remove all the weeds from there, correct? In Kannada, what is it called? Kale kilodu. Have you heard this word kale kilodu? What is the meaning of that? All the weeds that are there, you are going to remove them. By removing the weeds, what are you going to do? You are going to make that soil as much clear as possible. Correct? Then what do? You try to get a little more area. You dig a little more and you create enough space in the soil so that the seed can give out the roots and the roots can spread in various directions. So what does bhakti do? It expands my mind. It makes my mind capable of letting this knowledge give its roots there. Fine? Then these values that Krishna wants us to imbibe for knowledge. What do these values do? These values mature our mind. How? Now, if you plant something there, you will add some gobra. Correct? Some gobra means what? Some kind of a fertilizer you add. Correct? So first you clear the land. Don't take the whole land. Even in your agricultural thing, same thing you are doing, isn't it, in Kshetra? What you are doing in the field, first you are removing all the weeds. Okay? And making the land capable of receiving the seed. Then what you are doing, you are digging and loosening all the soil. Correct? So that whenever we plant the seed can give out its roots which will spread all over. And then what do? You put in the seed and then you add some gobra to it. Gobra means what? A fertilizer to it. A natural fertilizer you may add, like cow dung you may add, or some fertilizers like, compost that we have done. You are doing, no, in your Gurukulam, in the hostel, you are taught to do compost from old remaining food and all. I know that. You have done, no? All you boys have done that. How to do the compost. That compost is what? That is like a natural fertilizer. And what do? You add it to that land, piece of land where you have sowed the seed. Then what do? You water it daily. Correct? So, adding this fertilizer and watering the seed that you have put, that is what is going to be done by imbibing these values. And what is the seed that you have sown? It is the seed of knowledge which Bhagavan Krishna is giving you. Bhagavan is sowing the seed of Atma-jñāna in Arjuna's mind. What are we doing here? What is Amma doing here? Trying to sow one small seed of this knowledge which Bhagavan Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. So what should be your preparation? You should do karma yoga as much as possible to remove the weeds from your mind. That is chitta shuddhi. And then with bhakti, you make your mind expanded. You make your mind loose enough. Loose means what? Expanded enough to allow Bhagwan to sow this seed of knowledge, Atma-jñānam. Then what do? For this seed to properly take root and grow, you add some small amount of fertilizer here and there so that the seed gets enough of nutrition, because this land may not have enough of nutrition. So you are putting in some kind of rasa or gobra or what we call as the fertilizer. And then what do? You water that. And then what? You wait. You wait for this seed to sprout and a sapling comes out. This is exactly why Bhagavan Krishna is calling this 13th chapter as Kshetra Kshetrajna yoga. Okay, because ultimately we have to prepare our minds for Lord Krishna to sow the seed of Atma-jñānam and allow that seed to sprout and become a big tree later on with very, very strong roots. This Atma-jñānam should take such strong roots that we should not forget. And at this stage, what are you children doing? At this stage, you are allowing the seed to be planted. Okay, the seed to be planted. That is what we are doing now. That is why Swami wants all of you to know something about Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because this is the best stage of one's life. Your mind is still young. You can do the weed removal. You can loosen the soil and sow the seed of jnanam. This is the right time for you boys to get this seed of knowledge sown by Bhagavan. Therefore, he says, all these are the preparations of the mind to understand what? Ultimately, he says in the 27th shloka of this chapter, samam sarveṣhu bhūteṣhu tiṣhṭhantaṁ parameśhvaram vinaśhyatsv vinaśhyatsvam yah pashyati sa pashyati. All these preparations are needed for what, children? To understand that there is one Atma, which is called as Kshetrajna, which is nothing but God, which is nothing but para-prakriti of God, which is there in every jiva. That which is there in the entire universe is nothing but Kshetrajna, Atma, para-prakriti of Ishvara. There is nothing else. Therefore, in the 13th chapter, what is Bhagavan talking about? Bhagavan is talking about saying that I, Bhagavan, I, the Paraprakriti, is the Kshetrajna or the Atma or the consciousness in every jiva and in everything in the world. The whole world, the body of every living being, the body of the whole world, the whole universe is nothing but a kshetram, the field. And one should understand that there is one and only Atma, one kshetrajna, one para-prakriti in everything. Okay? Mayi proktam idam sarvam sutre manigana iva. One thread of para-prakriti is going through the entire world of millions of names and forms, millions of living beings. To understand this, one must imbibe, inculcate good qualities, good gunas, values. And that is what Bhagavan talked about. And the ultimate result of imbibing these values is what? To understand what Bhagavan is teaching. Now I will give you a very, very practical hint. Okay? Even if you follow one value, many other values come along with it. Now you may ask, which of these values should I follow? Can I follow all of them simultaneously? No. Whenever any kind of an opportunity comes, okay, follow one value. Say ahimsa. Start with ahimsa. I don't want to hurt anybody. Either in my mind, thought-wise, speech-wise, or even by my actions. I don't want to hurt anybody. Start with ahimsa. So when you start with ahimsa, what happens? One secret I will tell you, children. When you follow one value, many other values come along with it. Okay? All these values are connected to each other. They are not independent values. Okay? When you say amanitvam, adambitvam will come by itself. Arjavam will come along with that. Anahankara will come along with that. So what Krishna says is, these are not independent values. They are all connected to each other. Can I give you an example, very nice example of how all these values are connected? If you lift one value, another 10 of them will come along with that. Can you think of any local example where when you pick up one thing, 10 things come along with that? Can anyone think of that? Can anyone give an example, your daily example? All of you know it very well. When you pick up one thing, 10 things come along with it. You can't pick up one independently. Can you pick one noodle and eat? No. When you pick up one noodle, another 20 of them will come. No. If you try to eat noodles with a spoon or with a fork, what happens? Noodles kayal tinnakagala alvenappa. Can you eat noodles with the hand? You can't eat, correct? So either you have to use chopsticks, which we don't know how to use, we Indians. So we use either a spoon or a fork. And when you lift up, even try to see whether you can lift up one noodle in a spoon by a spoon or a fork. Nothing will come, it will just slip and fall. But when 10 of them come, then you can put it in your mouth. Correct? So all these values are like that. So if you take up one value, many other values will come along with that, like noodles. Therefore, any value you choose, doesn't matter. Any value you choose, and you see, when you start following and try to develop that value, so many of these other values will come along with that. Therefore, don't be under the confusion. Bhagwan has given 20 values. Which should I follow? Take one. Start with one. Gradually, you'll find that all the others automatically join. Okay, like one sheep goes and all the other sheep go behind it, correct? Like that, you start following or imbibing or strengthening one value in your heart, all the others will come, all the others will follow. Okay, for what you have to decide which one is most important to you. Supposing one of you feels very, very proud of yourself, then you have to start following the value of amanitvam. Okay, supposing you are a very angry person, always hurting others by your words, then take up the value of ahimsa. Okay, I'm not going to hurt anybody either by my words or by my actions or in thought. Start that. You see what are your weaknesses, where you are. Okay, and that particular value you can start following. That is the secret. And when you start following one value like noodles, all the others will join. Like magnet attracting iron filings, not one. You cannot attract one iron filing. So many will come, no? Like that, all the values will come. And ultimately, what is the purpose? To allow Bhagwan to sow the seed of Atma-jñāna in our minds and heart, so that this seed of Atma-jñāna gives deep roots in us and becomes a tree of knowledge for us. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.